So this is going to be a bit of an unstructured rambling. I'm going to be titling this video Memes, Virology, and Bioluminescence, and I'm not going to add citations, links, or any form of structured research to anything that it is that I'm going to say in this video, because it's not my job to do your emotional labor for common knowledge. You know, I'm pretty confident in the things that it is that I'm going to say as being things that it is that I have hyper fixated on at some point in time and studied religiously for a period of several weeks at a time, just because I, have my geek like that. I just know things, and you can Google it if you want to. So basically, I started using the internet during the early 90s days when the internet started first becoming a thing. I remember dial-up, beep boop, beep boop. And my first real experience with virology on the internet was I Can Has Cheeseburger. The first cat memes and the things like that, when things started really developing an interconnectedness on the internet. And so they first came out with the word meme, which was coined by a professor or some kind of scientist of social studies or psychology or something, and he called it a meme because the meme is based off of the word gene, something that it is where it is an idea or a notion that is passed from person to person virulently, like it emulates the passing of... What are you doing? Come here. Come on. Puppy. Of genetic code. In the manner of a virus from person to person, an idea, a joke, a notion, something along those lines. And unfortunately, something has been passed into the code where it's not the humor of cats eating cheeseburgers anymore. It's not, a social construct. There has been a virus introduced into meme culture. And I don't know what it is. I don't know how to quantify it. I don't know how to talk about it. I don't know how to introduce or communicate about the idea. I've struggled really hard to be able to try to communicate with other people. I'm intelligent person and I'm extremely well studied, but I don't feel like what it is that I'm saying is making sense to other people. I can literally talk to someone and say, I'm speaking to you in plain English. Do you understand? They'll say no. And this happens repeatedly, over and over, and this has been a reoccurring event over the past 4 years. I just struggle to communicate and feel like I'm just speaking gibberish, even though I know quantifiably that I'm not. But I struggle to quantify it because, well, the number one thing that it is that you can use to quantify your experiences is corroboration from other people. I have a dog. Love her dearly. Very good dog. However, dog is not a great conversationalist. But there's another concept that it is that I've learned from a different aspect of the internet called glowing. I'm alluding to this with bioluminescence, where some of the alt-right culture, the people were God's beer and, my rights, NRA shit, on the internet will refer to gun control? What is that? ATF? Yeah. Something like that. Will, go onto websites and intentionally bait people in these underground forums who it is that talk about these things. The militia and the people who are, think the Branch Davidians was just, the ultimate expression of Americana culture. And, they'll say things with the intent of trying to bait people. And they'll be like, this post is glowing, And so that's where that term originally came from. You know, some federal person trying to get an underground alternativist to profess their ulterior ideology. You know, so that's why, it's kind of why like things like 4chan, which I've never used, imploded, and why Reddit's been superiorly sanitized and incorporated with Google and things like that. These underground places are being swept aside or pushed even further underground, which is normally what occurs. I kept that out. Yeah, I mean, I did say that this was going to be a pretty rambling video. I'm not focusing on anything in particular, but the basis of the fact is memes, virology, and this glowing culture is what it is that is occurring as a cultural phenomenon right now, 2024. And it has been occurring since 2019 as a mass scale cultural revolution. I mean, say revolution very loosely. It's not a revolution. It's not counterculture. It is the extreme enforcement of core culture, the status quo. And it's really difficult for me, as someone who is extremely intuitive, to be able to interact online or in public spaces and to be able to see the things that it is that are occurring and to understand someone's motives without them saying it. You know, they don't have to say it. I already know. It just sucks that they never say it. There's this grand scale deceitfulness. You know, the alternative facts are a thing. You're mooching my food. Come here. Come, sit. 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 Good. I hate irony. Irony is the death of wit. Irony is the suffocation of creativity and goodwill. Irony is the suffocation of the natural evolutionary state of humanity. I look into past generations of digital media culture. And, you know, things from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, the things where there was genuine explosion of human expression, creativity, the breaking of the mold, and the prioritization of ironic culture of, you know, the person who it is that cares the least is the person who it is that's the most sigma or alpha or whatever, is just absolutely burying the natural human expression of creativity. That's my opinion on it, anyway. But I have a lot of opinions. Trying to get back to the point. I don't really have a point. I'm just rambling. I'm just talking about things because, you know, I made a YouTube channel video, and I made a channel about what it is that's occurring around me and the things that it is that are happening, and I've posted some pretty good examples of some of the things that it is that I've experienced. People who purposely go out of their way to create interactions with me, which I am uncomfortable with, which I find hostile. You know, I talk about this virus that it is that's occurred, and it has absolutely nothing and everything to do with COVID. You know, people were talking about mass deaths with COVID, mass burial graves in New York City and stuff like that. And I remember everyone being frantic, and I remember one particular post by a woman in New York who said, "Please listen to me. You have to understand that none of that is real. There are no bodies. There's no deaths. People are dying in the emergency ward, and they're being chalked down as COVID, regardless of whether their deaths were related to COVID or not, to pump up the numbers. And I didn't take it seriously at the time when I saw that. I was like, that's weird. And, there's just been some, a lot of people it is that I say, like, my grandma's aunt's uncle's dog, cousin, died of COVID. Boo-hoo, weep for me. Like, I didn't know anybody that died of COVID. I didn't even meet anybody who was sick from COVID. I got COVID, I think. I was bedridden for 3 weeks and I was coughing up blood. But I can't say that my experiences have been the typical user experience of existence in general. It could have literally been anything. Not a theorist in a general sense. I believe in vaccines. I have attempted to go get COVID vaccinations 3 times, and I was refused. They wouldn't let me get a COVID vaccination. I haven't gotten sick again. I've had so much horror rain down on my head in a fuck you in particular kind of way for no sensible reason, for no purpose. There's no reason for any of the things that it is that has happened to me. It serves no social purpose. But I live my life every day in a way where I feel narratively lost. Things that have happened to me that have been against the choices that it is that I have made in my life. And I have worked relentlessly hard to do something about that. And it's just difficult to cope with and difficult to understand. That I'm not a stupid person, not an evil person, not a malicious or violent person, but I have seen people it is that I looked up to, admired, respected, even loved, genuinely, who I considered decent, good people, do the most horrific things. I have seen people do monstrous things and behave in monstrous ways at me. I've seen people do monstrous and horrific things to each other to an extent. And it's really just exhausting when it comes to a situation where I stand up on behalf of someone else. Because, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Stand up for people when it is you have the opportunity to stand up and do something and say something right. Speak out against evil when you see it. And to just have them act shitty towards me. As much as it is that I want to say politicism and conspiracy and violence, action, and oppression, and things like that. It all boils down to just people are shitty and want to be shitty. And they want to be shitty because they can. And they want to. The most horrible thing that it is that is a continually recurring thought at the back of my mind is there was no one it is that put up a struggle to say no. There was no one else besides me who put up a fight to say that this wasn't acceptable. The only thing that it was that they needed was permission to feel that their actions were justified. That's sad. Because I wouldn't feel the same way if I saw what was happening to me happening to somebody else. I wouldn't have allowed it. Anyway. I'm going to post some other things. I have some new uploads that is to make that are going to be audio, not video. Most of the archives it is that I have of my data archives are all audio. They don't have video to go with them because video takes up a shitload of battery and a shitload of memory. So I have a couple dozen archives of people saying pretty interesting things in audio format. So I'll try to find some like cool pictures or AI shit to post with that. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this, but we'll see. I don't have a good video editor right now, so I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Anyway, thanks for listening and participating in the channel. If you feel like you're participating, you're probably not my target audience. Just saying.